What's up, trauma survivor? If you're here, that's because you want to write a book, right? And if you want to write a book, if you want to turn that life story of yours into a published book, then you're in the right place, okay? Because that's exactly what I help people do with powerful books. I help trauma survivors just like yourself from all types of trauma to help them write and publish a book in 3 to 6 months, okay? Now, as we jump into this, we're first going to identify who this training is not for, because if this is not for you, I don't want you to waste your time. I'd rather you use that time to actually go away and find something that will help you, okay? So if you are someone who hasn't made the steps in their healing journey yet, and you're still very much sort of, like if we look at pain, one end of the scale, and we look at purpose on the other end of the scale, our goal after going through some type of trauma is to try and get along that scale towards a place of purpose. And just for some people, they're still towards the pain area. Now, if that is you, like you're really triggered by a lot of things, you're very, very reactive, you're very much living in the what happened, and you'll know if that's you, then writing a book probably is not going to be the next best step for you, because it's going to be very, very triggering for you. So what I would recommend you do is go and get a therapist if you don't have one. If you do have one, spend a little bit more time with them, because maybe time is just all that you need to shift you along that journey. Then when you feel ready to write a book, then you can come back. Now, number two is, if you're focused on making money, if you're like, hey, I want to write a book because I want to make bank, right? I want to write a book so I can retire. I want to write this. Listen, there's nothing wrong with making money. I love money. Right? I love that lifestyle. But that is not why we are writing these books. That's not what Powerful Books is about. The guys that we work with, they're writing a book from a place of purpose. One, to find healing. Two, to help others. Not about making money. Money will happen, whether it's small or large chunks, as a byproduct of that. So if you're wanting to write a book just to simply make money, then this won't be the training for you. And if third of all, if you aren't a team player and you want to do things on your own, then this won't be the best fit. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But with what we do, like, we're very, very much focused on the family-like community, and whoever joins Powerful Books is an integral part of that machine, of that tight-knit family. So if you aren't a team player and you don't get involved, then you're going to feel out of place anyway. So this won't be for you. Now, who is this training for? Well, it's for those people who are ready to find healing and to step into their power, basically. It's for those people who've shifted along that scale towards a purpose to a certain degree. They're probably halfway or over halfway. And they're like, you know what? I'm ready to write a book. I'm ready to confront those demons. I'm ready to find the healing that I deserve. I'm ready to transform. I'm ready to get my voice back, take my power back, And you will know if that is you. So if that is you, you're in the right place. It's just also for those people who are ready to find their voice and to help other people. If we've been through some type of trauma, our voice was taken away. And now, hopefully, like you will be, because you're here watching this, you're in a place now where you're like, I want to find my voice again. I want to find my voice. I want to help other people. I want to be a leader. I want my story to be a beacon of hope for other people, because I know that there's got to be at least one person out there that is stuck in silence, that is stuck in pain, like you once was. Okay? So if you're ready to step up and help other people, then you're in the right place. And then lastly, it's for those people who are longing for an empowering family-like community of people who get them. Right? That's what makes what we do so special. So now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Perry Power. I was sexually abused as a child by my step-granddad. It happened for a couple of years. I don't know how long for, but it then stopped when I was 11 because my stepmom caught it happening. And then my dad put a stop to it, and that was it. My dad told me to keep it a secret. That secrecy lasted for 12 years. I broke my silence. Then my dad passed away from a sudden heart attack when he was 48 years old. Then I went on this journey of, grief, healing. But then I find out that my dad was abused too growing up by the same man that abused me. My dad lived and died in silence. And that is where the sort of purpose kicked in for me. I'm not going to, as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to help people out there not go down the same road as my dad. I'm going to help them to break their silence before it's too late. And that was what led to me to creating a social media platform and doing a TEDx talk. Then I wrote my own book. Okay, it's called Breaking the Silence. Now, I wrote this book in about 30 days. But I didn't publish it straight away. I actually sat on it for about a year because of it's not perfect. This book is shit. Right? I'm not a writer. Once it's out there, it's different. Like it's this. This is me admitting it's real. This is a physical, tangible thing of my story, and I didn't really want to own that. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxieties about publishing this book. And again, it took me 1 year to publish this after writing it. 1 year. All right. But the thing is, once I did publish this book, once I confronted those fears, and once I became the version of myself that I needed to be in order to have a book out there, then that's where everything changed. Not only did I was in the radio, or I was in newspapers, I was, my name started to go around as being the guy who owned his shit and talked about something so vulnerable. But then I had somebody reach out to me. Her name's Ali. And Ali said to me, where is she? Ali was like, Perry, you wrote a book. Can you help me do the same thing? And here's her book here, Walking Out of Shame. And I helped her do this book. And helping her do this book made me realize this is what I could be doing, right? And that is basically where Powerful Books was formed. And we work with trauma survivors, as you know, to help them write and publish a book. And we've been live since February of 2023. And we've helped a bunch of people write and publish books. We're in the middle of publishing five books right now as I'm recording this. Like, it's doing amazingly well and helping a lot of people, which is awesome. All right. So the thing that I have learned, though, on this journey of helping people with writing their books is that when it comes to finding healing, your traditional way of finding healing is 20 to 30 years worth of therapy to actually get somewhere. But also alongside that, it's, like all these people before joining Powerful Books, they had therapy. But at the same time as that, they were always still searching for more ways to heal, right? They were unable to let go of the past. They were not living a life of purpose. And when it comes to publishing, like when I was in the stage of wanting to publish this book, I went on calls with publishing companies. And they were charging anywhere between $15,000 to $25,000. That was like the ballpark range. In pounds, that's like maybe anywhere between £10,000 to £20,000. I don't even think £100 to my name at that time. So I had to do it myself. But all of those experiences, the expensive publishing fees, publishing companies having the final say on how your book looks. Like if you want a book cover and they don't like it, they get the final say because they see your book as a product to sell. So they also have a percentage of back-end book royalties. So I learned a lot of stuff back then that I wasn't really a fan of because it didn't really apply to me. I didn't want this to be a product to sell. This was a representation of my story. It's very, very different, right? But also, as well, when it comes to writing a book, it's a lonely path. It's just me writing a book. And yes, I might have one person, like a coach or a mentor from a publishing company. It wasn't what I was looking for, right? And again, giving away a portion of control. Now, since then, to what we do now, there's a massive shift in what we offer, and there's a massive shift in how we help people, okay? So the new way is that we're seeing 20 to 30 years worth of healing in just the 3 to 6 months. And that is I'm going to show you some things at the end. There is no exaggeration. It's bonkers because when I started this as a publishing company. I didn't start as a healing program, and it turned into a healing program. It just took on a life of its own. So if you're shocked now by reading that, trust me, I was shocked myself. We've got research analysts at the moment, as we speak, who are compiling all of the data to create a research paper and publishing it just to actually show the benefits of writing. Because people know, but they also don't know at the same time the true healing powers of writing a book. The new way, no longer in search mode. Okay. Instead, once people publish their book, they're in a place of wholeness. They have let go of their past and they have found the emotional freedom. Also, alongside that, they feel like they've connected to like a higher purpose, like a higher being. They're like, okay, I get it. I've been through what I've been through for a reason. I am here for a reason, because there's people out there that have gone through something very similar to you, very similar to me, that aren't here today, like my dad. But I am, but you are, and there's a reason for that, right? And it comes a lot clearer as you're going through the process of writing your book, especially clear once you've published a book. and also the new way is that you retain full control of how your book looks and comes across, as well as all of the royalties that you make on the back end. Now, there is a secret, okay, to how we help people write and publish a book within 3 to 6 months. Traditional publishing companies take between 1 to 2 years from blank page to published book, us to 3 to 6 months. Now you might be like, oh, I don't believe you, Perry. I've been on this planet for 40 years and there's no way I could write a book in 3 to 6 months. Trust me, nearly all of these people here said the same thing. Trust me. And probably at least half of these people said, oh yeah, I'm writing 3 books. And as they go through our process, they realize it's not 3 books, it's actually 1 book. Okay? But we won't go into why now because that's not the point of this. But what I am going to walk you through is the model that we have that allows people to sort of push through all of those fears, anxieties, those questions, that resistance to actually starting, and to actually start to write the book and publish within 3 to 6 months. So we can see our model here. Look, it starts off with the mindset mastery, goes into the powerful story framework, goes through the publishing to the marketing. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to walk you through each step. But the most important thing, though, that I really want to make clear to you guys is that throughout all of this, the number one actual most important thing is the family-like community that we have. It's the doing this, but doing it knowing that you're not on your own. Because not only do you join a community that grows every single week, people joining all over the world to write their book, but you've got a WhatsApp group, so people are talking all day, every day. And also we have the weekly calls every Monday. We have a call where we all come on and we all talk about each other's stories or helping each other, how do I finish chapter 3 or whatever it is. But also you get an accountability partner. So everyone who's part of Powerful Books, they get matched up with someone else. They jump on a weekly call with them and they really keep each other accountable to actually achieve their weekly goals, whatever they set out to get the book done. And that's all part of the community. Without the community, I'm telling you now, all this wouldn't be where it is. And that's why loads of people they might start their book, but they won't finish because they're not being held accountable to the degree that they need it. Okay. Anyway, so let's just jump in. So we're going to start off with mindset mastery. And then a mindset mastery is arguably one of the most important things because here's the reason, okay, that you haven't done it yet. It's because the version of you right now needs to be almost let go of so that you can become the person that you need to be to have a book out there in the world. Okay, that's kind of like the thing that we need to understand. Like we need to step into the 2.0 version of us so that we can be the person that has the book in our hand. Okay, now that's like the premise of the first part of what we do inside Powerful Books is helping you become the 2.0 version of yourself. Now the current blockers, now you probably had a bunch of these questions floating around in your brain. I have many books in me. How do I decide which one to write? I've word vomited on paper, but where do I go next? Like, what do I actually do with this? Do I include family members? How much detail do I go into? Am I going to get sued? Can I even do this? I'm scared about releasing it. The person who abused me is in prison. Like, what happens if they come out? And all of these questions, which are legit questions, but side note, you're not going to have the answers to any of them right now. Okay, so there's no point in trying to find the answers. The answers will come as you're going through the process that we have inside with what we do. But you won't find the answers right now. Okay, that's just something to acknowledge. But those are the current blockers. And inside Mindset Mastery, what we basically do is try to get it unblocked. So we need to let go of the current beliefs. We need to build our confidence that we're comfortable being seen. That's the tricky part. Most of us who've been through shit, we don't want to be seen for a multitude of reasons. But we need to be comfortable being seen. And it's not easy, but it's doable and it's possible. And we must step into the 2.0 version of us that puts us before anyone else. I want to write a book, but my kids, they might not want, blah, 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 blah. But my mum abused me, but my dad is a nice guy and he doesn't really want me to do this. And we've got to stop putting other people before us because at the end of the day, we shouldn't have gone through what we went through. And we should be put first by ourselves and by those people that love us. And a lot of the time, that's not the case, which is why at the end of the day it comes down to us acknowledging that we need to put ourselves first. Okay, so that's all the things that we cover in Mindset Mastery. Now, we're going to move on to the Powerful Story Framework. This, when it comes to the practicality of getting the book done, it comes down to the Powerful Story Framework. So we developed this thing which basically helps you go from that blank page to that first draft published book in theory within 3 to 6 months. Now, the issue for a lot of people is they don't have a proven process to follow. They'll just sit down, they'll just start writing, they'll start scribbling, they'll start word vomiting, and then boom, they'll hit a dead end and they have no idea where to go. They don't know where they're going before they start. That is the problem, which is why, and they'll have no book, which is why we developed a 3-part process. So I'll breeze through this because I don't want to overcomplicate this or give you too much information. But the first step is clarifying your story. Before we even get to the book, we need to know how you got to where you are today. What is the makeup of you? What is that story? So we get you to unravel the story. We have very specific and strategic questions that you answer that extracts the story out of you. And we see it unfold. Well, you see it unfold before your eyes. And what happens is you start to see the dots connect and you start to see, interesting. You know, I've been on this planet for 36 years and you know, I there's no way I could just sit here and write 36 years of experience, but why is my intuition guiding me down this specific process here, right? And then you start to actually see all of this, and that is how you get to the book, okay? Second one is clarifying your message. Once we've got your story, is then figuring out, okay, what is the message that's been born from your story? What's the message of who you are today? What's the message you want to put out there into the world? Now, don't try to answer any of this now whilst you're watching this because, well, maybe you could do it as a friendly little exercise, but I'm telling you now, a lot of times it changes. When you're in the process, that's when it starts to appear to you, okay? But we start to figure out what that message is, and then once we've got the story, once we've got the message, we then create the book structure. How are we going to structure the book? Are there going to be parts? Is there going to be questions in there, exercises? Is it going to be just a strict memoir? What are all the parts and what's all the chapters of the book? What's the message of each chapter? Making sure that the message of each chapter gears towards the overall message of the book. Now, this sounds probably maybe complicated, like there's a lot of work here, but that's why we exist. And that's why it's important to do it as part of a group so that you are handheld throughout every single step of the process. But now, hopefully you can see why if you don't have any of this and it's just a piece of paper, you know, like it's the likelihood you'll reach an end point of a book is very, very slim. But if you have a structure, it's very, very high, the chances of you getting to that end product. So we have the Powerful Story Framework, and then we have the publishing part. Now, just so you know, when it comes to working with us, there's 2 ways that you can work with us. We have self-publishing, which is where once you've done the book, we'll then show you how to edit the book yourself, how to format the book yourself, how to design the cover, and how to publish it through Amazon, which is where we publish books. Now, what option you pick basically depends on your budget. That's what it really comes down to. For those people who are really strapped for cash, they go down the self-publishing route. For those people who have a bit more of a budget, then they basically say, Perry, I want to publish for you guys, which is then where we take care of, we edit your book for you, we format it for you, we design a cover for you, we'll take care of all the publishing, and we'll provide you with a marketing pack, which I'll talk about a bit later on. All right. Now, when it comes to the last step, which is marketing, traditionally, when it comes to publishing companies, they run promotional campaigns. You know, try to get you into the news, try to get your book out there. It's a certain time period, i.e. a promotional campaign, right? It has an end point. Now, I've never been a fan of that, and I do something very, very different. Rather than that, I teach everyone how to lead with their story. Because we've written a book, yes, but really the book is just an extension of our story. So what we need to do is lead with our story first, get good at leading with our story, and then as a byproduct, our book will sell. As a byproduct, you might get asked to do talks, and it all depends on what you want to do. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, but I don't want to speak, or I don't want to. Doesn't matter. You have the final say. You don't need to do talks if you don't want to. You don't need to do podcasts. But if you want to do all of that, and what tends to happen is people join to write a book, and as they start writing a book, they start to grow, they start to transform, they start to get more confident, and they're like, yeah, fuck this. You know, I want to publish with my name, and I want my, my face on the front cover, and I want to do podcasts, and the world is your oyster. All right, but it all comes down to leading with your story, something that I do very, very well. You just need to look at my social media. That's how I got to where I am today. And I teach everyone inside Powerful Books how to do the same thing. So when it comes to marketing, here is just one example. Kathy, who published My Lost Childhood, just here, So part of the marketing pack, if you publish through us, I create a video reel of, so let's just say it's you, I'll create a video reel of your story, and that gets released when your book gets released. And 9 times out of 10, they go viral. We can look at Kathy's here. Look, it's currently on 5.7 million views on her video reel. When it started, she had less than 200 followers on Instagram. She's had gotten over 10,000 followers from this one reel. And she sold a shit ton of copies of her book. So, this is an example of what you get in the marketing pack, but it also is an example of the power of leading with your story. This video reel was not promoting her book or selling her book. It was selling her story, and then her book sold as a byproduct. But this is something that you learn inside the Powerful Books community. All right. Now, coming back to the last thing before we start to wrap up here, the most important part, and I always stress this, the most important part of what we do is the community. Just look at these images here. Look at the fucking faces. Look at the beautiful faces, the smiles. In the middle picture, we're all sitting around that table. That was, I think, last month. We all met up in London. That was the first big meetup. We all met up in London for lunch. We went for a drink after, and that was really, really nice because for the most part, most of the people here was the first time that they all saw each other in person, which is amazing. And you can see all these images here because we've got people all around the world. We've got some people who live like we see at the top here next to community. They both live in Canada, I think a couple of hours away from each other. So that's Jocelyn and Tanya. And they met up randomly one time. I think they met up twice now. So this is the thing, like when you're part of what we do, you start to become friends with people who've been through very similar to you. And that connection is, it's hard to describe what it's like until you're part of what we do. And this is the family that you become a part of. Okay, a lot of times when we've been through shit, we're a trauma survivor, it's a lonely path. We're surrounded by people who love us, but they don't understand us to 100%. But when you then meet people where you don't even need to say much and you just know that they get you, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So this is like really the main thing of what you get when you join us. So on to some success stories now. Bonnie Couch, she published Shout It Beautifully, and we don't need to read through a whole thing, but the main point to raise here is that she said, writing my book brought me more healing than my last 10 years of counselling. Words from her mouth. We've got Dana here. She says, before starting the program, I'd been journaling for over a year with no real structure. Now, lots of people, maybe yourself, can relate to that. Having a framework to build from, which is the Powerful Story Framework, accelerated my writing into an actual book. Without the group support, I would have likely bailed on the project. That comes down to the accountability of the community. Then we have Tanya. Found more healing in the past month than I have in the last 40 years. Before she joined us, she was having panic attacks. She hardly left the house. She's now on the lowest dosage of her medication. She's left the house multiple times. As you can see, she went to meet up with Jocelyn. She's smashing it now. Smashing it. She's just an absolute warrior, completely different. She was doing podcasts the other fucking week. Before, she couldn't even imagine herself on social media on a video. It's just when you join us, it's not about writing a book, it's about who you become when you write the book. That's really the key. And then just for the men out there who might be watching this, we literally today, okay, Glenn's book launch is actually arriving tomorrow, which I can't wait for. He's the first male survivor in the Powerful Books community who's published his book. We've actually got 2 more men who will be publishing within the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is even more exciting. But Glenn here, look, he says, writing my biography, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has been an extraordinary experience. Being able to look back on the experiences with fresh eyes instead of being stuck in the past is phenomenal. Being part of a writing support group of fellow survivors is beautiful. All right. So, question is, do you want to be next? So, what you need to do now, if you want to be a trauma survivor who wants to write and publish their own book, and you want to join the amazing support community with what we do, all you need to do is find me on Instagram. Okay, here's my profile here, so you just can see what I look like. And if you do want to get started with writing and publishing your book within the next 3 to 6 months, all you got to do is DM me the word book, And when you DM me the word book, what I'll do is I'll send you some information to read through, which is basically just a Word document of what you've just watched here. So read through the document. You'll see the two options in there, the prices of both of them. And then all you need to do is just let me know which one, and then we'll get you enrolled. That's basically the next step. Okay. If you do have any questions before joining, then feel free to DM me those questions as well. I'll get them answered. But yeah, there we go. So if you're ready, you know what to do. And I hope to see you inside soon. And I hope to be holding your book here because the world needs it. The world needs it. Let's catch you soon.